Bismillah.
The Needful Creed.
The story of Prophet Noah, or Nuh, peace be upon him. In the 1960s, a boat-like object was discovered high up on a Turkish mountainside. Could it be the remains of Noah's Ark and prove there was an ancient flood worldwide? 10 generations after the first man, Adam, passed away, idol worship grew. To stop the spread of polytheism or shirk, Allah sent the prophet Nuh. Nuh was the first messenger at a time when Earth's atmosphere supported giants. Although people stayed alive for 1,000 years, they became ungratefully defiant. Diabolical Satan had misled people to bow to graves and statues instead of God, setting up idols in town centers of pious dead men like Nasr, Suwa and Wad. Iblis had convinced them that the idols brought good luck and caused the rain, so instead of worshipping Allah, they began shirk and relied on idols in vain. Living for 950 years, Nuh preached in many different ways. He called them to Allah in groups and in private. He called them by night and day. He told them to praise and worship Allah, everyone's creator and master. They said Nuh was possessed, and to prove himself true by bringing on disaster. The disbelievers appointed wicked ones with powerful clans to take their lead. Thrusting fingers in ears, they scoffed at Nuh and refused to take any heed. The chiefs said Nuh was mad and followed only by the weakest and poor. They told him to stop his rantings, saying he was becoming a killjoy and bore. They swore and spat and terrorized Nuh and even strangled him to the floor. But when they threatened to stone him to death, Nuh could take no more. Don't leave on earth any disbelievers. To Allah prayed the Prophet Nuh, they would misguide and raise more. So it was better to start over anew. Allah listened to Nuh's prayer and told him of his plan to cleanse the earth. The disbelievers became more disgraceful and unproductive without any worth. Nuh was told to build a massive boat, an ark made of iron nails, antique wood. Allah guided Nuh as he built it, and his carpentry skills made it strong and good. Nuh had time to grow the giant tree from which the wood for the ark would be gotten, and 500 feet long and 3 stories high, it was coated in tar so it wouldn't get rotten. They once proudly boasted about the Titanic. Why, even God himself cannot sink her. But unlike the humble ark on its maiden voyage, an iceberg turned it into a sinker. Scoffing the ark was far from the sea, the pagans giggled in laughter. Nuh said their fun would soon end and turn into sadness soon after. They dared Nuh bring Allah's doom, joking about Allah's wrath and the flood. But stormy waves would soon drown them and wash away their wretched blood. A disbeliever would bring his son to the ark's construction so he could ridicule Nuh, recalling as a child his own father also used to bring him to poke fun at Nuh too. Nuh began to fill the ark with animals in male and female pairs joined to match. Birds in the top deck, land dwellers below, and humans in the middle by the hatch. With regards to provisions or types of animals, or if they were put in a hibernated rest, or for how long they had to endure that terrifying ordeal, only Allah really knows best. 600-year-old Nuh would soon board the ark while saying Bismillah was best. With supplication and Allah's protection, the boat would float, move, and finally rest. 3 of Nuh's sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, boarded along with their wives. Also aboard were about 70 descendants of Prophet Seth, a precious cargo of lives. Cain's evil descendants would face 40 days of rain with nowhere to hide or run, but they carried on in blind ignorance. Amongst them were Nuh's own wife and son. Nuh asked his disobedient son, Canaan, to leave evil disbelief and climb aboard, urging him, that nothing could save except Allah's mercy as the rain poured. Nuh's son didn't listen and climbed a high mountain feeling all secure, but huge waves crashed into Canaan, sweeping him to his death for sure. Nuh asked Allah to forgive his son, saying he was a family member. Allah said not to treat him as one, as Allah he chose not to remember. Even though Nuh was a prophet, his wife and son chose not to believe. Nuh felt sad, but was told for the deliberately evil he shouldn't grieve. The door to the ark was shut, and all those on board relied upon Allah's graces. They heard the cries die down outside and pictured the horror on their faces. Fountains of water gushed from cracks in the ground, ovens and places of fire. The skies overflowed with a barrage of rain, and the waves got higher and higher. Never had such a deluge occurred. The waves rose 20 feet over the mountains, snuffing out those marked for extinction as the sky merged with the fountains. By Allah's will, the boat stayed afloat, while chaotic waves spread a crushing silt. The ark even went around the Kaaba in Mecca, Allah's house that Adam had built. Nuh had brought the body of Prophet Adam aboard the ark as a mark of respect. He would bury him later and placed Adam between the sexes as a barrier, in effect. They floated in the ark for many months, in a changed world, wet and violently moody, until Allah ordered the earth to dry up its waters, and it came to rest on Mount Judy. As the earth expanded, the mountains grew taller, hoping to host the ark as an honor. But in the Ararat range, Mount Judy humbly remained low, and the ark landed upon her. Eventually, the clouds cleared, and Nuh released a crow to find out if the land was drying. It feasted on carrion and didn't return, but with greenery, the dove came back flying. Allah blessed peace upon the ark's crew. His mercy had kept them alive. They fasted and prayed to Allah on land. With a new hope, life would survive. They all disembarked on the day of Ashura, a day that Muslims remember by fasting. Allah promised He would never cause a worldwide flood again. His word is everlasting. The believers and animals spread new life across the earth, refreshed once again. Just like our fragile ecosystem, Nuh's ark is symbolized carrying life in the rain. Great canyons and lakes were formed, and oil and coal seams were trapped for millennia. As the atmosphere depleted, humans began shrinking, and races adapted into new tenure. From Ham came Africans, Berbers and Mongols. From Shem, Arabs, Greeks and Persians. From Japheth came Caucasians and Eurasians, and Gog and Magog for future incursions. Some still ridicule Nuh, accusing him of being a drunk and cursing Ham to be black. Satan was the first racist, and slavery is a shameful legacy upon which we look back. Nuh advised his 3 migrating sons, Ham, Shem and Japheth, before he died, saying, "Worship Allah without shirk," and warned about Dajjal, the Antichrist, and pride. On the last day, Nuh's generation will deny him when Allah asks if a messenger was sent. The Muslims will then vouch for Nuh on his behalf based on the Quran's testament. The ark's timbers are now just layers of mud, as in the Anglo-Saxon ship of Sutton Hoo. But for answers about our origins, we must explore this sign of Allah, the Ark of Nuh.